I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to call the board meeting to order. I motion we adopt the agenda as mailed.
Second.
Bowen,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, do we have any delegation tonight? Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions before on the treasure report? Anything?
We have our second assessments on there. You see that for the 3 lakes. I think that's the only major thing that's significant.
Okay. I move that we adopt the minutes of the regular board meeting of September 14th, 2022. Adopt the treasurer's report from September 31st, 2022. Replenish the petty cash in the elementary school of $19.28. Payment of the bills in the amount of $271,103.27 for October 12th, 2022, and the September 22 payroll in the amount of $478,290.05.
Second.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Bowen,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
All right, we do not have any old business, but we got a lot of new business. So first up, we have the science summer trip update.
Hello, everybody. We're back. And luckily, I brought back everyone I took, so that's successful, right? So some of you might remember last year I came to you and asked for permission to take students on a couple of ecology trips. We did our first one in August. We went to Yellowstone. We had probably better experience than I could have ever even imagined. It was really amazing. I was able to take 12. I had 12 sign up. We lost one the night before. Unfortunately, he tested positive for COVID the night before, so he didn't get to go with us. But out of those 12, I have the 11 that got to go. I have 8 of them here with me tonight. So I have Emily Whalen and Chase Williams, and I have Hawk Shoptees and Austin Cretal and Robert Jones, Holden Vaughn, Luke Kearns, and Dalton Rush here. So these guys went with me and Will is here too, sorry. This is the Will fan club, by the way. I don't know how that happened. I did all the work. But anyway, Will went with me as the sponsor, and so tonight they just wanted to come and tell you a little bit about their experience. So we made a little slideshow, and I don't really know where the best place is gonna be for me to do this for you, so let me know if I'm in your way. First night we got there, we stayed in Gardner, Montana. So this is our campsite. It was actually tent camping, which I forget, there were a couple of us, that was our first experience with that, so that was fun. For me, it was my first experience of 9 days with 11 teenagers and 1 man with no showers, so that was super fun. But this is a beautiful site. So that first night, we were really just setting up camp. We played some games, these are our bear boxes. There are bear in the area, so we did have to keep everything in bear boxes. And then we got ready for our next day. And our first day, we actually were very, very fortunate. Between the time that I came and asked you guys for permission and when we went, there was a major flooding in Yellowstone, historic flooding. Yellowstone was actually closed for several days, which has never happened before. And so we were supposed to go in the north entrance. The north entrance was still closed. So we weren't even sure we were even gonna get to go in the park. And they actually found out the day we got there, I believe it was, wasn't it, guys? Yeah. That we were gonna be one of the first we actually were the first student group that was allowed back into the park through the north gate. We had a research permit, so we were allowed in. So that was a really cool experience because the flooding we've been seeing on the news, these guys got to see the impact of that right up close. So 5:30 a.m. wake up call, the only way you could go in is you had to be there at 5:30 and you had to come back out that gate at noon. So we got 2 mornings in the park, which was a little less than what we thought we were gonna get, but still more than I thought we were gonna get. So I am gonna kind of scroll us down here.
Well, that's okay, because the park doesn't have boundaries really, or the wildlife and the ecology doesn't have boundaries.
Yeah.
So it was still a fantastic experience.
And our campsite was what, 3 miles outside of the,
If that.
Yeah, not far outside the camp entrance or the gate there, so it wasn't too bad. So that first day, we spent a little bit of time hiking in the Norris Geyser Basin, which if you're familiar with Yellowstone is where a lot of the geysers are, not the Old Faithful famous ones, but some of the really cool geological features are there. So we got to spend some time there, we did some hiking. Some of them, that was their very first time. Very first morning, this is a mama moose and her baby, and we came around a corner and they were right there and they put on a pretty cool show for us. But Austin's gonna tell you a little bit about the animals here in a minute. But this is all of them. They're at the geyser basin. And then Robert, you can tell us about radio telemetry?
Okay, so radio telemetry, I still can't really pronounce the word, but so every night after supper, we would do a little activity to prepare us for the next day. And so our first activity was telemetry. So basically, you'd get this kind of satellite thingy-majiggy. It's really annoying to carry, not very good quality. But so we started off, and so we would get put in groups. It was me, Luke, Emily, I think, and Austin. And so our goal was to teach it. And so we had to learn in like 5 minutes, and it was really stressful and everything. But basically, telemetry is you use all across the park, the wildlife workers, they work, and every time they'll kind of put a collar on different animals. It can be bighorn sheep, it can be bison, it can be elk, all of them basically, they do it. And then so you'll get these, and so each collar radiates kind of a little beep, I guess, and it kind of goes around. And then you can harness that with one of these antenna things, and then you have a little speaker. You can't really see it, but you can't see it in that either. But it just plays a beep basically. And so your goal is you'll just spin in a circle. Eventually you'll find a beep and it'll get stronger, and then you'll just go in the right direction. And it's basically just playing hide and seek with the tracker eventually. But it was pretty interesting to learn, and we ended up to teach everyone else. We had Austin go hide, and
Failed.
it went wrong.
You told me to do
First
it.
times. He told him to go easy, and he did not go easy, and we ended up spending way too long on it, and it was a big mess. But it was a lot of fun in general. And then our first thing was we would make suppers and everything for everyone, and we got to have tofu. None of us really like tofu. We had it for 2 nights, it was not a great
I think we'll get them to eat tofu again.
Yeah.
Probably are gonna need to add that to the lunch menu for the
Yeah, right.
cafeteria, we're probably gonna do that.
But in some ways it was a necessity, because we were out there for 10 days. You have limited refrigeration, and tofu keeps really well. So the kids did learn that part of things, and why that was a little bit of a necessity too.
Does not remember how to like it, Will.
Yeah.
But you're alive.
And next, I'm pretty sure Chuck is Chase with the Wolves.
Alright, so we went driving around, we were looking for bison at this time, and we just happened to see a bunch of people up on a hill.
Sorry. Scroll forward just a bit, this is some more of the telemetry. There you go.
Yeah, and we saw a bunch of people up on a hill, and we stopped beside them and we're like, what's going on? So we went up there and we figured out from a few people that there was wolves not too far off the area, and everyone was looking at them through their telescopes. Well, I was following one of the EPI ladies who was directing us, and she was talking to this one guy who was helping her set up her telescope, and all of a sudden I hear him say, "Thank you, Rick." And I just talked with this lady beforehand about this guy who was a Yellowstone, one of the most successful wolf biologists in all of Yellowstone, has multiple, like, #1 books, multiple documentaries. He's a super, it's like, big dude, but he's retired and he lives not too far off from the park. So I asked her, I'm like, is that guy you're talking about, Rick McIntyre? Is that him? And she just looks at me and goes, yeah. And then so I go over to Dunbar, who spent some time studying wolves and being with wolves, and I told her about this. And then so we went up and we started talking to this guy. Well, because this guy knew the EPI group and the lady there, he was conversing with us and telling us everything he knows about him. And he told us some very interesting stories. He's a very neat guy to hear, because he's very good at relating wolf behavior and their activities back to human behavior. Like he was telling one story about a very strong male alpha wolf who had a wife that was very much like very intelligent, and she would make decisions, and he would pretty much be like the brute force and go out and make it happen. Well, when he lost her in a battle one day, but he didn't know where she was. So every single day, he kept going and visiting that spot where they last knew for years until he ended up dying not too long after that. So it was super cool how you could relate a lot of that in there, and to just meet him is just a rare occasion within the self-swap. That was meeting him, and that is a super interesting thing because he is a very popular guy in his field.
So I've been studying Rick McIntyre's work since like 1994. He actually started working in the park in 1994, and he is one of the original lead scientists with the reintroduction of wolves in the park. And the really interesting thing, and I'm not even sure it's hit these guys yet, is that he does not talk to groups. He is not a huge, like, go out and talk to groups. And he willingly turned around and spent a good, I would say 20 minutes.
All you
Talking to
people
these
had to
guys.
drag us away.
Yeah, telling us all this stuff, and so it was just, and we were like sitting there like Justin Bieber was in there. I mean, we were like, Chase and I were standing next to you going, it's Rick McIntyre, oh my God. So it was really cool that they got that experience, so that was definitely a once in a lifetime.
Chase, what was the number one reason you wanted to go to Yellowstone?
See wolves.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and that particular pack is, that we got to see is one of the largest packs in Yellowstone right now. So they got to see the wolves there, so that was pretty cool. This is some more, this is Robert Don felt his inner bison at some point. I don't know where he found that hat, but he had on the hat, but some more of the radio telemetry there. Okay, Emily, you wanna come tell us about the amphibians?
Alright, so basically here we had to hike up this really steep mountain. I won't spend too long on that part because that was not exciting, but it was painful. But it was pretty rewarding at the end because we got to go to these ponds. And what we were doing is that we were catching amphibians. It was mostly tiger salamanders. And, we were like recording the population and like seeing how many were in there and like how many were adults, how many were juveniles, how many were like little babies. And this is because amphibians are really good at indicating like how the environment is doing because they breathe through their skin. So we were able to, record everything there, and it was crazy, I just gotta say, because we went to one pond, I fell over twice, and yeah, we have a video.
This is our highlight video here. So this is them actually in the ponds doing the research. And then all of a sudden I look up and everybody's laughing and I can hear Will. And it's just like dominoes. Is this a touchscreen?
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm gonna have to come in front a little bit here to get my cursor going. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Double whammy.
I can't.
But what's funny is as she goes to get up, she goes to reach for Alex. And you hear Alex like, don't use me. So it was really muddy and very sticky.
So it was not just a hike, it was a really cool hike up into the mountains, up to, they called them lakes, but I call them alpine ponds. Why are amphibians there? What's the species that doesn't eat them in these particular lakes? There's no fish.
Yeah, no fish, yeah.
Because
No,
it
no
rains
fish.
and then the water shows up. And
Yeah, the hike was pretty special too, and then on the way down, what happened to us, Emily?
it started raining and I was freezing. It was horrible. It was still fun, but it was horrible.
Now for the rest of us,
It was a beautiful, beautiful hike.
yeah, for the rest of us though, we just started running down the mountain just because because it was just so fun, honestly, and it was one of the most beautiful hikes ever.
Okay, Luke, you wanna tell us about our invasive species and community service?
Okay, so basically EPI dedicates one of our days on each of these trips to community service. And so we worked with the National Forest Service, and there's not very many of them, and it's such a big area. And so what they do, basically, there's this guy named Jabis, and he's just in charge of cutting all of the invasive plants. And they're just plants, right? Well, they kind of ruin the landscape a lot because there's all of these different plants and then it'll just be this giant section of this stuff called Dalmatian toadflax. And it was so annoying and in such a thick patches, you just could not get through it. And then right here, we worked with another lady, I don't remember her name.
Bethany, that's
Oh,
right.
Bethany, and basically, they're kind of trying to find a way to get rid of these more effectively instead of just having people go out there and cut them. And they needed people to survey it so that they can buy enough weed killer that works on those plants and not the other ones. And so we have these little tiny squares, and you'd put them out in the field, and then you'd kind of survey each square and see what's inside of it, if there's an invasive species, moss, regular grass. Probably pretty good there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our cleanup. So then we went back and we pulled it all out. And
Yeah.
we spent one whole very hot morning pulling all those weeds out. So these guys went to Montana and pulled weeds, so.
We had 7 full trash bags of those weeds, and that was just, yeah, that was one group of us. Not a very large piece of land either.
And he said not very many people for a large area. I believe there's only 3 of them that do their job officially over all of Yellowstone. Yeah, or over that area.
So then kind of quickly then, we had one night where we were actually scheduled to talk with the wolf biologist. So Jeremy is the lead Yellowstone wolf biologist, and he actually came to our camp and talked to us about management and how the management of the wolves is going and what kind of things to think about. These guys got to play roles of rancher and that sort of thing and think about things a little bit different. Watching Chase play the role of the rancher when he's a big wolf supporter was kind of a fun event, but I think it was pretty eye-opening for you. And so we got to meet with Jeremy. I thought he would be much older and wiser, and he was, I think we decided probably like maybe 30 and really cool, so these guys could relate to him quite a bit. Just real quick, these are you've heard a lot of their experiences, but then there's a lot of class time too, where they were learning about the ecology and the management, and in the best classroom you can possibly get. I mean, when you got guys like that coming into class, it's kind of hard to keep your students' attention, but they did it. They were working hard. And then we did have a lot of fun, a lot of different things that we did. Will cheats at Pictionary, I will tell you that. We got to go swimming in the Yellowstone River, so that was pretty fun. And then Austin, what kind of animals do we got here?
A lot.
The man of many words.
We pretty well, the animals we saw were far in between. I think we saw about every animal you could imagine in Yellowstone besides a mountain goat. Like we saw pronghorn, moose, bighorn, both bears, grizzly and black. Even white-tailed deer. Saw a wolf with Rick.
Great big
Yeah.
bull moose.
Yeah, no. We didn't see a bull moose, did we?
Bull elk.
Bull elk. We saw a lot of bull elk.
Yeah.
That bull elk right there is probably from me to Kelly.
Wow,
In a
that's
park
awesome.
with a football field. So
He
But
says
yeah.
we see all those animals, but we did it between 5:30 and 7:30. It was just.
yeah.
And then part of the learning for each one of these is each one of these students had to do a final project. So they had to do a research-based inquiry project. They were given actual data that's been collected in the field, and they had to put that together and ask a research question, and then they worked over the course of the week to answer that. And so they all then did their final projects, and they did phenomenal. They did very, very well. I think Hawk was gonna take our last little bit here. What did we do here?
So we went rafting, and it was really interesting. They took us down. They gave us like a rundown of the communication skills we needed so that we could like row and sink. What was really interesting was the fact that we went rafting a month and a half after the flooding. So off to the sides there, you'd be able to see like clear effects of the flooding, like entire like banks gone. Like just you can clearly see like all the rock layers and that kind of thing. So it was really interesting. And actually, if you ever saw the news, you probably saw that video of a house floating away on the river. Our raft guy, this guy right here, actually filmed that video. So it was really interesting hearing him talk about all that stuff and how it impacted the river. Like it even changed the river's course in a couple different places. So it was really fun and interesting, so.
So kind of the last thing, just from an educational perspective that I have for you, is EPI, when you first get there, when you first get there, the kids did a survey, kind of a pre-test sort of thing, and then they did a post at the end. And and then they gave us a course impact, so we can really see educationally what kind of impact this course has had on these students. And I want you to keep in mind, this is 9 days, okay? So this is a change over a course of 9 days, really 7 days when you think about 2 of them being travel. As an educator, as a teacher, these numbers to me were pretty powerful to see. 100% of them were very satisfied with it. I think the recommending of the course, as we talked about it, where it was only 77, that was the tofu factor.
Food can really bring it down,
Had
huh?
there been steak, I think we'd have been closer to the 100%, but we were really needing some steak when we took this. But just the different activities that we did and their satisfaction with that, their impact on how they feel about the environment, their responsibility as stewards of the environment now. You can see the increases there. On the back, you can see the increases in, 9% overall improvement in these areas that were measured over the course of 7 days. I think is pretty awesome. And then this is a little bit difficult to read, but if you spend a little time with it, I think you figure it out. You see that there definitely was some higher impact in all of those areas that we like to measure as educators. And really, I thought it was pretty cool that we were up 40% in our most improved area of knowledge, which was taking direct action to support conservation, which is what we wanted these guys to get out of this. And the fact that 8 out of the 11 of them showed up tonight to tell you guys about their experience, I think is pretty awesome too.
And
So
quite a few of these kids from an educational perspective took advantage of the 3 college hours that they could earn, which was fantastic. And their final was the project that Chandra introduced you guys to. So Luke has his first 3 hours in college already under his belt.
and those 3 hours only cost them $150. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Thank you guys so much. This is great.
If you go to the website there, our Life Sciences on Facebook, that's my class one. The whole story's there with tons and tons of pictures, so.
Awesome. Thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for coming in. Great.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
You want me to shut this TV off?
Yeah. I wanna give you a yellow start.
We are leaving for Costa Rica. Will, we just changed that date. May 25th?
24th or 25th.
May 24th or 25th. And I think right now it's 9 days also. I think I have 9 students already signed up for that one, maybe 10.
It's this May coming up,
This coming
yeah,
May,
that's what I
yeah.
thought. I couldn't remember if we skipped a year or if you were, okay,
Yep,
awesome.
nope, this coming May, we're doing 2 trips this year and then we'll skip a year.
That's right, okay,
And then
awesome.
we'll look at on the next year.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Will. All right, next we have KASB Board Policy Recommendation Update.
So just want to give the information to you. KSB sent back their review of our policies. I think we were behind a couple of biannual updates from KSB just for things. So basically what they did is took the policy that we have in place, which I sent them, is what you have shared with you, and our forms as well, and they just compare them to what the policy, their recommendation policies are, and then broke it down for us to do that. So I've shared what the current policies and forms are that are in place. I've shared what KSB has recommended for their policy updates and the form updates. There's just some wording updates. There's not, I think there's one that has some major discrepancies that might have been a local decision, and that's nepotism, that we'll need to discuss next month when we go through that. I think there's some changes made to that policy at one point and see if we're still there based on that. But other than that, most of them were just wording updates or bringing it up to current times as you look through that. That last one I shared with you is just a short version of what those recommendations are, basically what the policy number or letter, reference number letter is, and then just a brief, this is what's changed in that. But you still have access to go back and review it yourself. And so we'll take this month to do that. If you have questions, give me a call. We're not taking any action, but just give you some time to review that. So I went through every policy and every form to the best of my knowledge. And
It's
looking
only
at that.
707 pages,
It's all,
so.
so my eyes I'd go up to the lunchroom, my eyes felt like they were like this,
So thank you for giving us the month to
yeah,
look at
so
this.
that'll give you time to review that, if you, again, have questions. And then just a reminder, KSB sends biannual updates in June and December, where they have some recommendations for local boards to consider. And so we'll be bringing those to you as we have those sent to us for the board to take action on and review as well. So, but I think this will get us up to date. We'll have a better format as we present this to the public, whether online, and we will make it available, obviously, in hard copy at the office, board office too. But we just kind of get that cleaned up and ready to go as we transition here. But so that's what we'll be doing. You have that information. If you have issues with it, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. And then we'll have a discussion next month and take action on the recommendations and see where the board's at with those as we go through that. So any questions about what's been shared with you?
I should have read the entire paragraph because I started reviewing.
Oh, yeah.
How am I gonna get through all
Yeah, no, that's why we give you, it took me a little while.
I think Ted was like, I'm gonna give Kat.
So, but yeah, so that'll give you a month to review that and then give you some time to do that. But it will bring us up to date and to be current where we need to be based on the recommendations for KSB, so.
All right, we have our KEYS update.
Yeah, so just want to let you know, next week, the administrative team and I and Kylie are going to get together and look at the year 5 report that we have to submit. And basically, it's a summation of the first 4 years of our accreditation cycle. I've contacted our OVT chair, Dr. Doty, and asked him if it'd be okay if we had our year 5 visit before Christmas break, and he felt like the district was in a good place. We get that information updated to set that meeting, and then we can submit our accreditation information to the state board, to the ARC committee, the accreditation review committee. They'll review it, and then they'll make the recommendation for our accreditation. Again, right now, Kylie's putting in our updated data that we have from the previous year, and then we will work as an admin team next week and with Kylie's help, she's done a great job putting this together. To get that ready and just kind of get an idea of when we feel like we're ready to have this meeting. We'll get it scheduled and check it off the list, and I see no issues whatsoever with our accreditation, with our sending to the State Board of Ed. So
Excellent.
So that's where we're at with that.
All right, our emergency operation plan update.
So I met with the middle school and high school staff on Monday during our PD to give them, just kind of show them what the new format looks like. The old crisis plan, as it was called, had all that information in it, but I've just updated to call it an emergency operations plan to encompass everything and change the formatting, make it more of a national standard to do that. So all thing we really have to do left is really to our offsite location is really go over there and have a discussion about what that looks like if we ever have to use that site. As an admin team with Felix and our crew to get over there. We still have some individual meetings to have for people in their role in case of a severe, where we do have to evacuate the building, and what their roles would be in the course of that. It's lined out in the emergency operations plan. And I'll share that with you after tonight's meeting, in draft, again, just be draft form. And hopefully in next month, we'll be able to take action on it once we've had our conversations and everybody's on that. We will plan to have an evacuation drill in the spring to take the kids over there and the staff, and just to get an idea if this is for our secondary offsite location, what this is going to look like, and work through the kinks as we see them as we do that. So had a good conversation with the staff on that, just giving them that update. But again, it's just the crisis plan had the information. It's just making it to a different format and encompassing a little bit more. So, but we're making good progress on that to bring that to you next month for approval. And we'll take action on that annually. Hopefully at the beginning of each school year. Mainly it's just be update of staff and different things and changes on that. But just to make sure that the conversation is had by the board and they're have an understanding of what that plan encompasses. So, but we'll do that annually starting next year to do that. So.
Awesome.
Any questions about the EOP, as I call it?
I'm excited. I mean, it's
coming
good
together.
thing. Yeah,
it's coming together.
good thing. All right, the Jones Trust application.
So Jones has talked to a couple, local groups, admin groups, and that they're looking for applications to, I think the district has done things with the Jones Trust. I know I did that in a previous location where I worked, to look for that. And Andy's brought this to the table to see if this is something that the Jones Trust would be interested in, and we see history of them doing this type of granting this type of application to approve that. So Andy, and I agree with him when we talked to the admin team about this, is we have some smart boards that need to be converted to interactive TVs, and my understanding is the Board of Trustees would be interested in that. We could do either 11 or we could do up to 21 as he's put on here to do that. And just to make that cycle go a little quicker in utilizing the grant. The next is the sound system. It's my understanding that it needs to be addressed, and that's a conversation he's had with you in the past. And he thought reaching out to the Jones Trust would be a place to start to see if they're willing to help us with that. And you can see that on there. And with the speakers and amplifier to do that. Could be $35,000 for a speaker amp plus the $8,000 for the mixer. And that mixer would be a high, more updated, more tech friendly, where it can basically, you could schedule it and it just do it automatically. And so pretty cool to do that. And the last part of this is the lighting. He's still waiting on a quote for that, but there's some lighting that needs to be adjusted and replaced and things of that nature. So we thought we would include that as well, but he's not able to get the quotes before tonight. And really just needing your blessing for us to apply for the grant to pursue this as a district, and seeing if we can update some of the auditorium and the interactive TV.
So the goal would be that the grant would cover the cost of all of these things, and we would just have to approve the grant. Right now, we have to approve to apply for it.
That's all.
And then if they accept our application,
then we would take action
on that again.
Yes.
So I think we all can agree, if you've been in the auditorium and have tried to listen to anything, that is definitely a high priority.
Yeah, so he's got the mics working, he's got those updated, so we're hoping that cutting out issue is not, my understanding that he's hopefully worked through that. He was doing that Monday, but the overall part of this, I know it's been a conversation I understand the board has had in the past, so just looking for your, approval of.
Ted, are these full grants or are they matching funds?
They're full grants, is my understanding, as they've been in the past.
That was my question. That was a better way to ask the question I was trying to ask. Thank you.
Right.
Well, that's my understanding too. Cheryl Mazzata, who from here in town, is on the Jones board now. And Osage County has not been really getting matching funds with the surrounding counties. So it sounds like there's a very good opportunity to get money for large projects, and she's willing to go to bat.
Good.
For us on that.
Okay.
So I think we should be applying for everything we can.
Yeah.
Motion it.
I make a motion that we approve, take action on to move forward with applying for a grant for these projects.
Second.
Parsons.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Bowen.
Hi.
Linton.
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
All right, Todd, were you able to get any information on the Three Lakes report this month?
Oh, I did not.
Okay. I don't think there was,
Thank you.
yeah.
Todd's been under the weather, so he didn't go to the meeting.
And I didn't get anything by email today.
Yeah, so there wasn't anything pressing in our meeting Monday that,
Okay.
Just some employment, I think, is the main thing, and I can't really, anything stood out from when I went over there Monday,
Okay.
that I can remember, so.
All right, does anybody have any question on the building reports?
I got a question on the after-school programs. So for both grade school and middle school, are we having students attend? I mean, you both kind of gave reports that, hey, we've got these teachers helping with the after-school tutoring program, but are we getting the kids to attend?
In the elementary school, we have Tabitha Renfro teaches 4 days out of the week. Kathy Reed, Susan Smith, and Josie Garland share the 4 days. And then we have Kaylee Hodges, who's our first grade teacher, and Nancy Robinson, an interrelated teacher. They share 2 days each. And we have 6 students, I believe, that are attending that after-school program. And they are consistent with attendance, so that's good. So yeah, And we feel, I was just looking at some of their graphs that they've sent, because with the ESSER funds, you have to prove that you've made some growth. And so far, they all have made growth. So we start our second session coming up November 1st. So
Middle school, we've had like 3 or 4 students each night, but right now our eligibility's in really good shape. We've only had like 4 to 5 students on the eligibility list each week, so really not a lot of need right now, but we've had some coming in. And we do it kind of like, we've got a group of teachers that have signed up for 2 teachers each night who come whatever nights they can work. It might not be the same teacher each night, but so. And it could change. I mean, middle school is kind of tough too, cause they have activities right after school, but I know our coaches and everything are willing to work with them if they wanna come up, so. If we have those issues, I'm sure they'll be pushing them that direction too.
And then Natasha, I had one for you, the mice sabers, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
Is that given to all students in the high school or?
Yeah, basically what we did is we had to send out like a parent permission. And so because of the legislator, they said that this is kind of a situation that even though we want to see how our students are, like emotionally, we still have to get parent response. So we went ahead and sent that out, and I feel like we had about half of the parents actually respond. And so then that's basically what we're doing that. So that's gonna help us look at the data to see which students maybe are in certain areas, so then we can do like some counseling groupings. So that's how we plan to use that. And we do the after school tutoring as well. Sorry, I didn't include it in my board report, should have.
We do.
Rookie over here. So, but we actually have the same thing, about 5 students who do attend, and we have 2 teachers who do that, and kind of the same thing. It has really helped with the ineligibility list.
Great, thanks.
Hey, Dana, on the nomination for Kathy Reed, what's the timeline on that?
she has to have everything submitted by November 1st. And she's very aware of that.
No,
So- We've got Kylie Lohmeyer lined up to help Kathy download everything so she gets it submitted on time, but a lot of it really is put on Kathy's plate. And she knows that, and I'm supposed to give her 2 professional days to provide all that information that she has to provide. As she has yet to take those 2 days, but she is more than welcome to take those 2 days so she can get that information in.
All right, thank you.
And congratulations. All right. Any other questions on the buildings? All right, Mr. Hessel.
Okay.
Report.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate the district. They received a star recognition from the State Board of Ed for their academically prepared. They received the Copper Award for last year's work. So that's been, I think, the 4th year in a row the district has received the Copper Award. I think that speaks highly of the staff and their efforts to, state assessments aren't the end all be all, but our kids are overall prepared. We're higher than the state average, have been, within the last 4 years that I've seen. So they received that as distinction, which I want to make sure. We were going to put banners up in the gyms and the offices for each year. We've got this, so we'll make some type of banner system because it's a big deal, and in my opinion, on the state assessment. So we're working towards some other recognition for the district in those areas, whether it's graduation rate, IPS, post-secondary. So having some good conversations about that. So, but do want to congratulate the district on their work last year for receiving the Copper Award for being academically prepared. So applicant tracking, that's our job posting software. We're coming along nicely on that. We're going to do some job postings tomorrow. I think I have that training to do that. So we're going to test drive some of that. So that's pretty much what's left to do. And then the training of the admin team on how to use that. So we should have that up and running before Christmas break and ready for spring hiring to do that. So all applicants will go through the online system. We'll make a laptop available for people that would be classified and certified. And if they need to do it, we'll help them out in the office, district office, to do that. So it's coming along nicely. So we're right on track to be ready to go before Christmas break. So talk about the October 10th PD. elementary spent the day with structured literacy, had some good conversations. I got to be in there for a little bit. In the middle school, high school, the secondary, I was able to talk to the staff about, give the KISA update, as well as talk about post-secondary data. And I just came at it as that they have, that they've never heard this conversation before, because I don't know what they have or haven't heard. So I just, maybe some of them have heard some of it, but just kind of talked about it, what it is, how it's measured, what it's reported on. And when we have our breakout session, our work session, I'll share this information with you guys as well when we do that, when we start talking about goals more specifically. But it was a good conversation with the staff to really talk about what are we, and I had some questions, what are the good components of our IPS, our getting our kids ready? What are some things we need to be thinking about adding? And then, and ultimately, what is our responsibility to help kids for life after high school? And it was just a good conversation. People shared, and we got some good notes, and I think some good things are coming from the IPS and seminar at the high school, putting those things in place. So, but that was the start in the morning, and then in the afternoon I talked about the emergency operations plan and did that. Dina has her PD days filled up with the structured literacy that we need to do, and I'm anxious to see the results of that as we build some consistency across the grade levels in some areas that have shown concern. So I think it's a pretty good day overall, kind of getting ready for parent-teacher conferences, and with those coming up to do that. So, and then at the end of the day, we had a wellness committee meeting, just kind of reviewed the goals. We are going to look to offer a second day leftover entree if students want to buy that, whatever's left over from the day before. We're going to see how that goes and give the kids an opportunity to buy that if they want to get some more. So we're going to test drive that to see how that goes within for the high school students, right? To make that available. And then we also talked about, I'm drawing a blank. We need to do what's it called? Basically a check of where we're at with our goals and our wellness plan. We're going to do that in the spring. We have a rubric to follow, and we're going to review that wellness screening rubric that we'll do. And what was the last? Oh, staff wellness is something that's been brought up to me starting here. The districts and people have done the weight loss challenge things in the past, and I've moved away from those in our previous district. So we're going to look to work with our health insurance provider, Blue Cross Blue Shield. They sometimes provide healthy grants, healthy living grants, healthy wellness grants. And we're going to look to create some activities that staff can do and sign off on through the year and earn a stipend. And again, trying to help them be healthier, but reward them for doing that. So we're going to, as a wellness committee, look to do that. Hopefully in the spring, we can get that started as part of that. So just part of the conversation that we had. So one thing before I get to my last thing, what would the board think about just a polling here, just moving our board meetings back to the district office? It's kind of tight, but I don't know if that's something you would think about. We got new tables in there now, new meeting tables. It's still a small space, but we think we can pull it off, but I don't know what the board thinks about that.
I don't think you were there for the Kelly's fan accident.
Oh, no.
I don't know whether we're prepared for that again or not.
It was a very high power fan. I had no idea that it would be that way. I forgot.
to move it back.
I have no opinion either way.
Any concerns about that? I don't know I haven't talked to Andy about it, but moving the equipment, and we could mount it in there and have it available, but I haven't talked.
What do we do for individuals that come in though? I mean, it's kind of a small area.
It is.
It'd be very cozy.
Yeah, it would be very cozy in that. So we'd have some type of podium set up or something in the corner for them. We feel like the board members of the admin team and Patty could all be at the tables that we have available. We could horseshoe it a little bit, I'm thinking, but when we first got these tables, and that would be an open area for the people presenting. There wouldn't be a lot of seating room for audience overall if we had a bunch of people, but we could, if we broadcast it, we could put a monitor out front, and then they could see it out there too as well. So something I haven't talked to Andy, but I kind of wanted to get the board's thoughts on that, if that's something we should consider doing. So
I'd be willing to do like a test run.
sure. Oh yeah, good idea. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we came here is to put us back in the school.
Yeah.
People could be here for it, or that we just don't have the room.
Yeah, I understand that
Board
too.
office.
Yeah. But I'll talk to Andy and see that. Maybe we test drive it 1 month and see what we think, and that's a good idea. So, Okay, lastly, just staff recognition. October is National School Principal Month, so I want to thank our principals and so for their work. And they get the whole month.
Not just one day,
Yeah.
31.
Yeah, you get all of them. You get all of them.
31
So.
days.
So I want to thank them for their hard work. They've been great on my transition, helping there, and they take a lot of issues, and like my phone doesn't ring off the hook, and which I appreciate. They're willing to take on challenges and do those things. So just want to thank them for their efforts and as for Principal Month. So also National Custodian Week, Appreciation Week was October 2nd, or day was October 2nd. That was Sunday. So we got some gift cards for our custodians and recognize them. National Activities Week was this week. Is it this week? This week, yes. So Coaches and Sponsors Appreciation is tomorrow. So we've got some gift cards for them as well to thank them for their efforts, and there's some things that have been done. And next week is School Bus Safety Week. So the bus drivers wanted to get the kids some stuff, so we're going to pass those out, and then we got gift cards for them as well for our drivers. So
Awesome.
I just want to thank everybody and opportunity to recognize the staff and do those things. So a lot of good things going on. So that's my report.
Awesome. All right, any other questions before next? Okay, I move we go into executive session to discuss confidential personnel matters pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the library at 8:05 with Mr. Hessong attending.
Williams.
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Bowen.
Aye.
Kelly, did you stay for how long?
20 minutes, 8:05.
we're live.
All right, coming out, I move we go back into executive session, to discuss confidential personnel matters pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the library at 8:30.
Second.
The board.
Invites Mr. Hessong.
Parsons.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Bowen.
Back in open session, I move that we approve the recommendation as the new Washburn Tech route, bus driver Veronica Rain, the new middle school girls assistant basketball coach Reese Bacon, and the new middle school assistant boys basketball coach Devin Waller.
Second.
Okay, Bellinger.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Bowen.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
All right, I move we go into executive session to discuss negotiations pursuant to protecting the public interest in negotiating a fair and equitable contract, and the open meeting will resume in the library at 8:50 with Mr. Hessong present.
Second.
TJ.
Aye.
Bowen.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Threw me off with the PJ.
Kelly.
8:50. I know. All right, back in open session, no action taken.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Bowen,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Peterson. Did we lose you?
Todd, did I hang up on you? Oh. Oh, we lost connection. We hear you now.
Surely we can do a majority here.
Okay, Todd, go for it.
I said aye.
Okay, we can hear you now, sorry.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Bellinger.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
The Bluetooth disconnected, Todd, so that's what happened.